We are back with Julia Buckley, and we are going to be talking about the kinds of mysteries that you write, cozy and romantic suspense. Tell me a little bit about that.
The cozy mystery is descended from what used to be called the classical mystery, which really was invented by Edgar Allan Poe, but people probably see it more as made famous by Sherlock Holmes, by Arthur Conan Doyle. And the two things that Holmes always had, that every classical detective has, is even though they're amateurs, they have success and they have superiority, meaning over the police. In the case of Holmes, it was always the bumbling Inspector Lestrade, but now you also saw Miss Marple, Agatha Christie's detectives, Miss Marple, Hercule Poirot, descending from that and having that same thing. They were amateurs, but they had both success and superiority over the police force. They could solve the crimes themselves because of special qualities that they had. And so the cozy mysteries descend from that. There are many genres within the cozy mystery, but it's the idea of the amateur detective who can solve the crime with some special skill that they have themselves. But what makes them cozy, probably in the Miss Marple way, is that there's always, the crime tends to be off camera. We don't indulge in the crime or gory details of the crime. Instead, we immerse ourselves in local color and in the fun characters, the eccentric people that might populate a town. And we get to know them, and it gives us this cozy feeling. And often we have main characters who knit, like Miss Marple, or who have some special quality. My character can cook.
Okay, now you were telling me that it's best to write what you know, and you write in a lot of strong female characters. Is that where that comes from?
Well, I'd like to think I'm strong, but I also like the idea of creating a woman who is strong. I think women are strong, and that a lot of times the narrative we hear in the news or whatever is that women are victimized. And I like to create scenarios where someone might try to victimize them, but they will not allow that to happen, that they are strong and that they make things happen. They take things on.
Okay, so that brings us to your latest book, which is The Big Chili. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this book is about a young woman named Lila Drake, whose dream is to be a chef or perhaps her own caterer, because she's very talented with food. She's a food artist. And one of the things she's using as a stepping stone to get where she wants to go is that she's developed a local clientele within her neighborhood and her parish of people who know of her gift and have her make food that they can claim they made. So it's her big secret. She gets paid for her silence, but she also gets paid for her food. So one of her most frequent clients, Perpetua, buys chili from her that she then becomes famous for in her parish. And Lila makes a batch of chili when the book begins, and it turns out later that it's poisoned, and someone dies. And so Lila then has to determine, do I tell the truth or do I keep silent to protect my client? So that's her dilemma at the start.
Now, I can imagine that you've got these recipes going on in the book, which is a little different for a mystery book, right?
Well, there are many culinary mysteries, lots of mysteries about food, and I think food writing is an art in itself. I actually write about food better than I prepare food, but it's something that you can become really immersed in because there are so many beautiful ways to write about the preparation of food. My husband's actually a better cook than I am, but in living through Lila, I sort of become the chef.
So Julia, The Big Chili, you've got a lot going on there. You've got recipes, you've got murder, you've got suspense, intrigue, a little bit of romance in there too. How do you layer in all of those plot lines?
Well, that's a great question. Often when you go to a writing conference, writers are divided about how you should create your plot, whether you should outline it all in advance and type it all up before you even begin writing, or whether you should just sort of delve into chapter 1 with a basic idea and see where the adventure takes you, sort of like walking down a path. I tend to lean toward the second version, where I have a basic idea in mind, I have my character, I have my crime, and I might even have an idea of who might have done it, but I haven't fully fleshed out that person or those characters. So I just sort of start walking down that metaphorical path to see who I meet, and it's very fun.